Well, hello, everybody. It is the DNA show with your movie review for this lovely Friday. Last night, Dennis and I went and saw a kids' movie, but not all movies, even though it says for kids. This is for us. This is our generation. We saw Transformers 1, the new computer animated Transformers origin story, I would say, Dennis.
Yeah, so Andy was trying to get me to go to Joker Part 2, and I really said no. And it was between that or Transformers 1. And, we've seen the trailer for Transformers 1. I really wasn't that excited about it. I was like, this is going to be the worst of two evils, but I was like, I'd rather go see Transformers. So we went, and the clips made it look like this really cheesy kids, sci-fi Transformers prequel. I was like, but we went. And I will say this, we'll make this nice and sweet and short. It really wasn't. It was a buddy comedy that started out. And this movie was phenomenal. In my mind, it had way more heart. The stars, the voice actors were fantastic. The story was engaging and made you feel through it. It was
Dennis knows more about the Transformer lore than I do, but I know enough. So I think the only thing I didn't know was Cybertron, the planet, was actually, I guess you'd say, the first Transformer, and he transformed into the planet. I didn't know that, but what made this so cool is it's like Godzilla -1, Transformers 1. It's the origin story. It's a young Optimus Prime. Obviously, that's not what he's called in the beginning of the movie. A young Megatron. That's not what he's called either. These guys are two buddies that are basically miners on the planet Cybertron that are mining Energon. That's what it's called, right? Energon. Yeah. They're mining Energon along with a bunch of other miners and stuff. And you get to see them as friends. And it was like a buddy movie. And you got Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. It was great. Scarlett Johansson. What's her? I can never remember that character's name.
She plays Alita 1.
Alita 1, yeah. And then I already blanked on the actor, but he's from the Eternals, played Megatron. What's his name?
Brian Tyree Henry from Bullet Train.
Yeah, Bullet Train. He was great in Bullet Train. Eternals was blah, but Bullet Train, he was great.
Yeah.
And then who plays the bad guy? Who during the movie, I leaned over and I'm like, who is that?
What do you mean by bad guy?
The big bad in the movie.
You mean Megatron?
Nope, he's not the bad guy in the movie.
Oh, I get what you're saying. John Hamm.
John Hamm.
Yeah, I was trying to think. He was Sentinel Prime.
Yes, Sentinel Prime. He was great.
So one of the things that they did, well, you got Steve Buscemi as Starscream.
Yep.
Lawrence Fishburne was Alpha Trion. A lot of the big ones, you get to see your original primes. They might be in flashbacks and stuff, but you get to see it. So the lore is there. They dug heavy into it. And like I said, we all knew about Orion Pax and D16. We knew of them. But, you don't get to really see. They took this to a whole new level. And here's the thing. Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax. This is what I like. Now, we all grew up with both Megatron and Optimus Prime's voice, and Megatron changed a number of times. But for Optimus Prime, Peter has always been the voice. And I was like, Chris Hemsworth. I am giving props to Chris right now. He was phenomenal. He did not try and imitate him,
No.
but he started as, Orion Pax is this little thing. And as he grew, and then he eventually becomes able to transform, his voice changed. And then when he gets the big transformation at the end, he changes again. So Chris's voice acting grew with the character. It was absolutely fantastic. And I am telling you, Keegan, Lawrence Fishburne, Buscemi, Ham, all of them. Vanessa, Lagori, she played Arachnid. She was great. Soundwave, John Bailey played Soundwave. They were great. Starscream, though, you could hear Steve Buscemi in it, and his voice changed in that. I loved everything about this. This movie was great.
Like I said, the basic premise is these guys, Optimus, young Optimus, Orion Pax, whatever, and the young Megatron are buddies. They're minors. Optimus, when he's young, he's more the take chances type guy, risk and stuff like that. And him and Megatron enter this race that's not meant for them. They end up in a precarious type situation, we'll say, and they end up going to the top, of the planet, because right now everybody's in the center of it, basically living. Nobody goes up to the top, and they go up to the top, and you get to meet a young bee, which is Bumblebee, of course. So they go up to the top, and the one thing is, in the beginning of the movie, when you first meet John Hamm's character, I'm so bad with names. What was his character's name again in the movie?
It was Sentinel Prime, the last surviving Prime.
Yeah, the last Prime, Sentinel Prime. When you first meet him, he's basically, he's the Prime. He's like the king, and everybody, when he comes on and gives a speech to the whole city, everybody's like, ooh, I mean, right out of the gate, and I'm sure you thought this too, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy. There was but this is meant for kids and stuff, so kids probably wouldn't take that leap. So it was probably, when everything played out and you finally found that out, they were probably like, oh. But even for us, it was still done so well.
Yes.
And in such a very good way.
The movie had its usual 3 parts.
Yeah.
And in each one was nailed perfectly. The introduction, the setting up of the characters and the relationships between them. Part 2 where they start delving into more of it and they start trying to figure out the puzzle. And then part 3, you get to the exposition. And if you have watched Transformers, you already know what's going to happen, but they did it. So if you were new, you loved it. If you were fans like I was from '84 when they first came out with the G1 stuff, it was there. And you were like, wow. And I'm going to say they didn't just hit a home run. I think they hit a grand slam with this, because I walked out of there and we didn't get to talk at all about it. And my initial thought, and there's 2 things you got to stay. So stay through all the trailers.
You got to stay all the way till the end. Yeah.
But when I walked out, I immediately said, I need to see more of these characters. I need to see what they do next, because I don't want them going to Earth. I want them to fight on Cybertron, because the repetitiveness of the live action ones are on Earth. Us little squishy humans, they're fighting and stuff. It got so repetitive and boring. This is new. This is fresh, and they can do so much.
I do think, I think if they do a sequel, which I hope they do, I think they will keep it on Cybertron more, because you have to. It just can't be like the second one. If they do it, you could see that one ending where they're like, get to Earth. but they've got to do more with the conflict between the Autobots
Well,
and
they've
Decepticons.
got the entire, because this is now the start of the war, the
Right.
Cybertronian
That's what I'm
War,
saying. That's
and
why they've got to do a
then
lot more
we've
on
got to get in.
Cybertron.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think if they're going to do it, they do a trilogy, and the
Yeah.
whole thing is basically
Yeah,
there.
that would work.
Because you've got to introduce Unicron. That was
Yeah.
on there because he wasn't really mentioned in this. And there's so much that they could do. But guys, I was dreading going to this. I thought, it's a couple hours. And that's the other thing, pacing. It's an hour and 44 minutes long. It was perfectly paced, not bored. It was enjoyable. There was so much comedy, and most of the jokes landed.
And the visuals, I mean, computer animation has come so far. The visuals are just freaking fantastic. I mean, just gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
And, just back to character development real quick, you really did see the growth of, Optimus from the beginning before he was Optimus to the end of the movie. You saw, the growth, of course, in a bad way of Megatron, because we all know he's a villain. But it was just really good. Great, great acting, voice acting, whatever you want to say. Really nice performances.
Yeah,
Great visuals.
It was very heartfelt, and it reminded me a lot of when Darth Vader turned, and Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, when you see them finally go their separate ways and how it goes. I've always said Megatron and Optimus Prime is pretty much that same kind of coupling. Two people that have been through so much together, and then to see how they split, this is very much in that vein, and they nailed it. It is one of the best things that I have seen with that reaction of how they separate from being best buddies to how they wind up turning and flipping sides.
All right, well, let's CGC this puppy. That's our rating. The lowest is a 0.5. The highest is a 10.0, just like CGC and CBCS rated or graded comics. Dennis, it's your turn. You go first.
Love this. It's probably up there with some of my favorite movies, believe it or not, of the last few years. It's not quite up to a Top Gun Maverick, but it is up there. I'm giving this a 9.6. This knocked my socks off. I will probably own this movie. I will buy this movie when it comes out in 4K.
There you go. I'm right up there. I'm giving it a flat 9.0. So I mean 9.0, 9.6, not a huge difference there. And I'm a guy that I can tell you, it's weird being a cartoonist and saying I'm not big into animated stuff or computer animated, cartoons like this, whatever. Something about them, they just don't really capture me that well. But man, this was just on the money. So I'm giving it a 9.0. Do we have reviewers and stuff?
We do. As a matter of fact, on IMDb, it has a 7.8. So wow. It's usually a little lower, but that was on there. Okay. First of all, I will tell you, the critics are giving this an 89%, which is high.
That's high.
And then the audience is giving this a 98%. So the audience loves it. But the thing I'm laughing at, one of the top critics, and I'm going to have to make comment. I won't even name the person, but a lot of people are going to have a grand time watching Transformers 1. Sadly, I am not one of them. That's a review, and that is a paid top critic.
Who is it? Just say who it is. Who cares?
Sarah Michelle Fetters from Movie Freak.
Never even heard of her. That is not even a review. That's not even like, I don't know how much, how much character space they have for, where they write, wherever you're reading off of. I'm assuming it's not meant to be a big paragraph, but you got to give more than that. That's ridiculous.
Well, that is, it's always an excerpt from them. So if you click on it, it does take you in there.
I don't care.
And I'm reading it. I'm like, wow. I'm just saying, this is anyway. Everybody's allowed their opinion and stuff on there, but we are on opposite ends of that. I bet she
we're on the same end is Kor-Drath, The Awakening by myself and Dennis, the new 64-page graphic novel. Guys, if you are fans of Conan, Dungeons and Dragons, Game of Thrones, high adventure fantasy with badass barbarians and hot chicks, Kor-Drath is for you. You guys, the link is in the description below. Go through this page at your leisure. We're at 52,379, 726 backers, getting towards 60,000, which will unlock another stretch goal. Dropping through this a little quick for you guys, because like I said, we want you to go through here, take your time on your phone, your computer, your tablet, pick a cover, pick the perk you want. There's a new game module Dennis wrote. If you're big into D&D and stuff like that, this is for you as well. And of course, stretch goals already unlocked is the Vordoom playable character card. That's right. If you're just into the art, you've got beautiful art on the front by myself and Dan Lawless. If you're into role-playing games, Dennis created some fantastic statistics on the back for the character, so you can play him in your favorite role-playing game or the one that Dennis wrote. 60,000 bucks unlocks the Bart Sears and Dan Lawless print that is the cover art for the game module. So go check it out. 64 pages, great barbarian action. We thank everybody that has already backed it. Thank you so much. And we do just want to hit this real quick. The children's book, guys, what is the children's book? I'm going to remove it because it's right here. Let's see, which one is it? This one. Oh, look at that. The books are in the house. These ship out the next day. Great 24-page story. Ooh, wrong one. I love to read. It's meant for young readers, kids learning to read. Read it to your kid. We've got the activity book. It's all black and white story plus crossword puzzles, connect the dots, things like that. And for the real Kor-Drath lovers of the graphic novel, the adults, we've got You'll Bleed. It's the mature version. Oh, look at that. So if you back that, link in the description below. Books ship out the next day. So check that out. Tonight at 7:30 tonight, we have a special guest on the show. Irene Strakovsky is going to be on the show. Why, you ask? Join us at 7:30. It is Kor-Drath related. I think you could probably piece it together. And we'll be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So
that's right.
Thank you guys so much. Right?
Yep.
Right. See you at 7:30 tonight.
Live long.
Bye, everybody.